Guys, now believe it or not, Juvia's Place has another brand new palette out, and this is called the ZULU palette. Now this is a smaller palette, not like the 16 pan eyeshadow palette, the magic palette that I had reviewed a few days ago. This is a very small palette, and I think the magic palette retails for $28, I think, 28 or $30, and this retails for $17.50, $17.50, and you get 9 eyeshadow pans, 9 eyeshadows in this. And let me just show it to you quickly. Do you see how gorgeous these shadows are? So pretty. I just could not resist, so I went ahead and picked it up. So 9 eyeshadows for $17.50. I think that's a really good price, a very drugstore price, I would say. And the amount of product you get is altogether is 32.4 grams. I think that if you break it down, you get 0.1 ounces, which is 0.1 ounce, which in grams would come up to somewhere around 3 grams, right? Yeah, 3.6 grams, guys, each pan, which is a lot of product, which is 0.12 ounce. So which you do get like very large size pans, and I'm really happy with the amount of product you get and love the color selection. There's not one similar shade at all. They're all distinctly different, and they also on skin they do look distinctly different, but let's get to that in a minute. Now this is made in as usual China. Juvia's Place's palettes are made in China. So let's get into the swatches. Let me just start with the bottom row. Now these two are mattes, and this, the final one, is shimmer. All of this foiled, not just shimmers. So purple shade, very pretty. And this is like a pinky red shade. It's not like a vibrant orangish red, very pinky red. And this is like peachy golden shade, which usually these shades just appear like a very warm gold on my skin tone. But you can definitely see there's a hint of peach, so it's definitely beautiful and very pigmented. This the metallic shade is definitely foiled, and there's no need to build it up at all. These two shades are also really pigmented, as you can see even by swatching it. You can definitely see it's really pigmented and very nice, and they do show up on the skin and also blend well. I do have like a downside to these shadows. Let me just swatch them first and then we'll get to it. And then you have another turquoise shade, very pretty, and then you have like a lime green shade. These two are metallics and they are foiled. And then in the second row you have like just one green shade. I wouldn't call this like a leaf green or grass green. It's something, it reminds me of a hospital, like the uniform that a surgeon would wear. I don't know, it just reminds me of hospital whenever I see this green. And that is very pigmented as well. And final row, this is a row that I'm really happy about. Actually, you have like a very burnt orangish brown. It's very warm. That is it. It's a brown. I'm going to say this is not very pigmented, but this is a very muted shade. I'm not saying it's sheer, but it's a very muted shade. This muted brown shade, and then you have the yellow shade. It's definitely on the sheerer side. I'm not going to say that it's really good, but all of the yellow shades that I have tried, Vizier and also Smashbox has like a bold palette out. I think it's called the Cover Shot palette in the bold shade. The yellow in that is also not as sheer. So I have not yet tried a really good yellow, and this is not like this egg yolk yellow that you see in the pan. It looks like a very sunshine egg yolk yellow kind of a yellow. But it's not that. On the skin, actually, it looks like a very dirty, mustardy yellow, more like a mango yellow, you know. And I think I really like the twist in this yellow. I really like it. That's I have that as like a transition shade, just as the outermost shade here, and I really like it. I really like the dirty look that it gives. So this is not, definitely not a sun, like that egg yolk yellow, like deep bright yellow. It's not that. And then finally you have the best of the best shade in the palette. I wouldn't call this the best. One of the best is the orange shade, which is very, very pigmented, guys. So yeah, those are the 9 shades. As you can see, all of them are pretty pigmented and very, very easy to work with. Now, formulation wise, I saw the list of ingredients. It's exactly the same as the Saharan palette, exactly same as the Magic palette. So ingredients wise, there is no like inconsistency. They are all consistent. Now, this shade, when I'm trying to use this, oh, not this shade, where is it? Yeah, this yellow shade, when you use this using a blending brush, it goes on beautifully and you can actually build it up also very well. But when you're using a flat shader brush, it doesn't like really come through. I think you definitely need a white base if you want to apply it on the eyelids, like using a flat brush, flat shader brush. So that's something that I observed with the yellow. But when you take it with a blending brush and when you're sweeping across your eyelids and windshield wiper motions, it actually, the pigment actually picks up really well and it also builds up really well. So that's something I observed. This orange shade, no matter how you use it, it works out really, really beautifully. Whether you use a flat shader brush to pack it on, it works beautifully. And also in the crease, it's so crazy pigmented. I really love it. Now, as I told, this shade, I'm not sure if it's my skin tone, or I don't think this is a sheer shade at all. This a burnt brownish shade, orangish brown shade. I just feel it's like it kind of blends within in my skin tone, and it doesn't like pop, but it definitely it definitely makes a difference. For example, I use this green shade in my crease, and then I use this brown and the yellow all combined here, and it kind of changed my crease shade into like an olive dirty green. I hope you can see it. I went for like a grungy kind of look, at least in my perception. It looked kind of look grungy, not like a very colorful look. I have the purple in the inner and the outer corner, and it actually purple shade, and this purple shade works beautifully in the crease using a blending brush and a shader. And when you use as a shader brush to pack it on, you do not need to build it up at all. The purple shade is fantastic, actually. It's really, really good. And then in the center of the lid, I have the lime green metallic eyeshadow, and I didn't have to build that up as well. And then in the outer corner, I have this this green, and then from here to here, the actual crease, I have, like I said earlier, I have this brown, this yellow, and the green, all three mixed together. And according to me, it doesn't look muddy. It doesn't look muddy. It just changed the color, of course, as you like mix colors. It definitely changed it and made it look like a very dirty olive green. And I think it really looks good. I really love the look. But and the red shade is also very good for packing and blending. I didn't really encounter any problems with that. And the metallic shade, as usual, from Juvia's Place, are really, really good. Now, I do have one con to this palette. Now, the thing is, when you take a blending brush and deposit color in one particular area. Now, when I'm doing crease work, I deposit first here in the outer corner and then move my brush inward, right? So when you deposit first there, it deposits a lot of pigment there. But when you're moving the brush along the eyelids, the curvature of the eyelids, hoping to move the pigment also in the eyelids, from here to here, from out to inside, the pigment doesn't exactly move like as you want it to. It kind of just like moves very little. Probably I would just get a little bit of movement from here to here. So I have to again dip it in and then actually incorporate more of eyeshadow from here to here, so from center to the inner corner. So that's something that's something that I really you know, encountered and experienced with these eyeshadows. Is just, it's not as good as the matte eyeshadows that we have seen from Juvia's Place till now, including the Magic Palette. The mattes in here do present that problem, a very slight problem, and I feel when you go into blend, they kind of don't adhere very strongly to the eyelids. I do have an eyeshadow primer, so even in spite of that, I feel that it kind of blends away. So I feel the only downside to this is it takes a little bit of time to build it up, because once you build it up and blend, it kind of fades away. Then you have to again build it up and blend. So that's the only downside I feel. And also the fact that the pigment doesn't smoothly move when you're blending in. When you're actually going and using a blending brush, it doesn't like properly move the product wherever the brush goes. It like just stays put there, and maybe a little bit moves upward or downward, or wherever the brush moves, whichever direction the brush moves. It moves a little bit, but not all the way. So you have to go in and dip in more product and just apply it in the areas or the angle that you want the eyeshadow to be present. So yeah, those are the two cons that I encountered, which I have not encountered with Juvia's Place's matte eyeshadows so far. But I did check. I think probably it's got to do with the shades that they came up with, because the ingredients list is exactly the same. So yeah, positives, I really love the color selection, and you can definitely work with them, guys. I don't think the downsides that I've told you would actually hinder you from using this palette, or like would actually you'd come up with a bad eyeshadow look. No, I don't think so. It's just it would take a little bit of time, I feel. Not like an hour long. It's just maybe a minute or two long, because as I said, they don't adhere. The pigment doesn't adhere to your skin very well. And what else? What's the other one? Yeah, and the pigment doesn't like move properly where you want it to, so you have to keep on adding pigment in the areas that you want the product to be in. Otherwise, I really like it. And finally, these are the swatches. All of the matte shades, with the exception of yellow, perform well with blending brushes and shader brushes. So if you want to pack the eyeshadow in the eyelid, matte eyeshadows, it does perform well. Just the yellow, I think you definitely need like a white base for it to really pop. You can definitely build it up even with a shader brush, the yellow, but as you see, it doesn't like, it's not that sunshine yellow, like egg yolk yellow. It has like definitely a dirty undertone to it. Dirty, and no, it has like a olive or maybe mustard undertone to it. It kind of looks like a deeper dirty yellow. So it's not like that vibrant clean yellow. So besides that, I didn't encounter the mattes are pretty versatile. You can use it with any brush, and obviously the metallics from Juvia's Place is really good. So yeah, that's my short review on this palette. I'm really happy with it. I think this would be a great alternative if you were really interested in like a colorful palette, because from what I remember, the Viseart Brights editorial has this shade, this hospital green shade, and it does have the yellow and the orange and the purple and the red. So from what I remember, you have 4 shades that, oh wait, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can definitely see 5 shades that are present in the Brights editorial from Viseart palette. Wait, Brights editorial palette from Viseart. And then I think you have 1, 2, and 3. These 3 shades, I don't think you have this shade in the Smashbox Cover Shot palette in bold. You definitely have these 4 shades, the red, the green, the orange, and the yellow. These 4 shades are present in the Smashbox Cover Shot palettes in bold. I think that retails for some $29. So $17 is a really good deal, I feel, because you have such dupes from such good palettes. So yeah, I think this is a great deal if you're really looking to purchase a colorful eyeshadow palette. Yeah, that's my opinion. Hope you guys found this video useful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.